life, I'm ready to give it to you. And the moment, so far everything looks like, oh wow, he's such an amazing person. And the moment actually Krishna says, over there is Bhima, son of Pritha, and this is brother Arjuna, know me to be the maternal cousin Krishna, your enemy. So then actually he says, like, the real colors of Jarasandha comes out. It's not just Jarasandha is like, if you take things out of context, he may look like an wonderful person. Certain qualities can always be there, like, because we are the scriptures usually does not give too much uh, gray area. They very categorically say who's good, who's bad. Very rarely you will find peoples with mixed shades, though, like, they may have mixed shades in terms of the verdict of the scripture. It's very clear who's good, who's bad. But in a world that we are living currently, it's like kind of very political to say who's bad, who's good, like in a very categorical way, because of lived experience. However, here we see Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly shows the colors of Jarasandha, because first of all, he imprisoned so many kings. That's no good person does that. Apart from that, here, right, the moment he says, oh, I'm Krishna, he says, all right, you fools, I'll give you a fight. Means the way he addresses is like so much of ego comes into picture, and that we will see in these current verses, that how sometimes even the best of the people with all the good qualities in this world, still there is one hidden what do you call, one hidden problem, that is our own false ego. And we will see how Prabhupada also addresses it in the very last purport. So when Jarasandha starts to speak, he's very he's taking a very moral ground. He says, I'll not fight you, Krishna, because you already abandoned one fight with me. So you're kind of lost. So I'm not going to touch you. And then he says, oh, Arjuna, he's not as old I am. He's younger to me. He's not as strong as I am. So he's no match for me. So, but I'll fight with Bhima because he's as strong as am I. So he's like kind of having a proper judgment. But again, as I said, it's all based on the principle of false ego. So he's more worried about people saying, oh, Jarasandha chose to fight someone who's weaker than him, and that's why he won. No, he does not want that to be claimed later. So he's very careful that all his decisions are keeping up his false ego. So then Vimasena also accepts, and to his credit, Jarasandha also offers a weapon to him, because now he has dressed as Bhima. He has not brought his own personal weapon. He has come dressed as a Brahmana, so he is not. Every warrior has their own famed for personal weapons, which has a lot of energy invested in, and they have practiced with that, and so they have a lot of comfort in handling that particular weapon. However, does not have it, so he's giving him a equally qualified huge club to Bhimasena, and then he also chooses a level fighting ground, and then they start fighting. And the fighting is also here being called as a magnificent spectacle. It was it was a fight of equal strength, equal training, and equal skill. So they were not like going to very easily defeat each other. So the fight is also explained in nice detail, that how they look like two fighting elephants with big tasks. So they were like fighting with equal force. And it said, like, when I started reading, they swung their clubs at each other with such speed and force. And as the club struck their shoulders, hips, feet, hands, and thighs and collarbones, I was thinking maybe they'll say, okay, their body was affected by the weapon being hit. However, like, it's the other way. The weapons were crushed. Their bodies did not have any problem. So the weapons were crushed and they were broken like branches of trees when it is furiously attacked against an elephant. The examples are such amazing, because the trees are actually very, very strong. However, when it is hit against an elephant, even if a strong tree, if against an elephant, can the tree can break because the elephant is more stronger. Similarly, the weapon itself was very powerful. However, these two were even more powerful. So the weapons actually broke. So once the weapons broke, they actually started fist fighting. And at this point of time, it is Bhima who realizes that yes, we have been fighting for last 27 days, and we haven't reached a conclusion. So Bhima also has been thinking, okay, I'll just win Jarasandha. And Krishna did not do intervene. Actually, Krishna, until Bhima came to a complete understanding, okay, it's not within my ability. So he let Bhima actually fight Jarasandha. And Bhima then told Krishna, oh, Krishna, I am unable to conquer Jarasandha. I don't think I'll be able to because we are of equal strength. So that's when actually in the following verses, the future speaker will speak on that how Krishna gives help and suggests Bhima what is the way to actually win over Jarasandha and actually kill him. Because it is not possible otherwise, because they are of equal strength. So here again we see that as long as we think we can do it, Krishna will let us fight. And we may sometimes feel like we are winning against whatever we are fighting, usually the material energy. Sometimes we may feel like we are winning, but eventually we are not even an equal match for the strength of the external energy. We are actually very tiny. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mam Daivihi Gunamai Mama Maya Dhuratya Mam Yevaye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. He says how the material energy is Daivihi Gunamai. So she is made of the material modes. Dhuratya, she is very difficult to overcome or impossible to overcome by the living entity. But not impossible for Krishna. Impossible for the living entity. So he is saying, how can the living entity overcome Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante? He is very clearly using the word Eva, means only. That means only through surrendering unto Krishna we can overcome the external energy. Otherwise, it is not possible. So here we see the same principle is being shown in in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, how as long as Bhima thought that he could actually overcome, then Krishna did not interfere. Krishna just let uh, him fight. As long as his strength, he felt he has the strength to overcome Jarasandha. So the same principle that there is one hidden enemy in a devotee's life. So that is the false ego. So until we actually spot that how we are fighting based on our own strength against the material energy, we will not be able to actually surrender to Krishna and ask for help. So it's a very insidious kind of enemy. False ego is very difficult to spot. Though we constantly hear about it, it's not very easy. The ignorance is very strong. Gajendra prays in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when the acharyas ask, is Gajendra actually is like praying for the Supreme Lord to appear? Like, what are you praying for? Are you praying to be saved physically because you're being attacked by the crocodile? So the acharyas are asking Gajendra, okay, Gajendra, are you like praying to be saved physically? So Gajendra says, no. What is the use of being saved physically Because even if I get saved from this crocodile, the crocodile of time will actually anyway kill me. The physical body will anyway go. And what actually, the time, even time cannot destroy. If there is one thing that even time cannot destroy that we have, is just our false ego. Because the time destroys our wealth, the time destroys our beauty, the time destroys everything else that we externally process in relation to the body. However, there is one thing that the time cannot destroy, which is the nescience, which is the ignorance, which is the false ego. And he says, let that be taken away by my Lord. Let him come and destroy that nescience, that ignorance, that false ego of me, which will never go away, even if I actually come victorious out of this battle with the crocodile physically. So, similarly, we all have our own crocodiles in our life catching hold of us. Uh, when we, most of the times, when we don't even expect, because when suffering comes in an expected way, that's more like a challenge. That's not suffering. But suffering is something which comes when we don't expect. And that's what actually, that's how Maya actually attacks the living entity through unexpected suffering. So it's through surrender that actually the living entity can overcome this enemy of false ego. So there are three stages that we go through. First stage is the sense gratification, because the living entity is completely happily engaged in sense gratification, like how Gajendra was actually going around with all his family and like enjoying an outing, and like having entering the waters and experiencing the freshness of the water, the coolness of the water in the company of his family. He was just enjoying life. So that in this world, the living entity also goes around doing sense gratification. And the next stage is the sense gratification is also not without a challenge. We have to struggle. We have to struggle to continue our sense gratification, and we also have to suffer because of the sense gratification. So then, after many, many lifetimes of sense gratification, struggle, and suffering, the living entity can come to this stage of surrender. Because in the stage of sense gratification, the mind controls us. But in the struggle phase, we try to control the mind. So that is the problem of the false ego. It thinks that I have to control mind. I have to control my mind. I have to control my intelligence. In the initial stage, we think, oh, means we just let the mind control us. We don't even know that the mind is controlling us. But when we start practicing bhakti, the immediate understanding is we want to control the mind. But actually, the stage of surrender is to let Krishna take charge of our mind. So we surrender our mind also at the feet of Krishna. For that, we need to actually attentively hear, attentively read for Krishna's pleasure. So everything that we do, if it is done for the pleasure of Krishna, then actually our minds can be pacified by that connection with Krishna. But if we do it through false ego, externally we are engaged in devotional service. However, it's a second stage of struggle. We are trying to control the mind, and we have no strength, we have no ability. And that's why Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I can control even the wind, but I cannot control my mind. So he's making it evident that no living entity can actually, even if the living entity has the ability to control the wind, the living entity will not be able to still control the mind. So, from the stage of trying to control the mind to let Krishna control our minds through attentively actually connecting with Krishna, through hearing and chanting and our service and doing everything for His pleasure actually will help us spot the enemy of false ego, and also like how Jarasandha will be killed. Similarly, the enemy of false ego will also be overcome by the mercy of Krishna. Because the more we continue to fight with our own strength, like how Bhima is trying to defeat Jarasandha, if we just try on our own efforts, on our own strength, with our own intelligence, we if we externally if we may seem like we are enduring in bhakti. However, as long as there is false ego, we won't be victorious in our battle against the mind and the false ego. So that is an important lesson that Bhima is teaching us, that how it is very necessary for us to actually open our hearts to Krishna and express how we are unable to just overcome the mind and the false ego in our fight, and rather actually surrender to Krishna through avoiding what is unfavorable, accepting what is favorable, and believing, having firm faith in Krishna that He will protect us. And doing everything that we do is as an offering to Krishna, which is a very high ask. However, there is no other way. So it's a gradual training that we start to learn to do everything that we do as an offering to Krishna for His pleasure. So thank you. This is almost 7:45. If anybody else has um, temple hall, you Adipush Prabhu is there.
Can you hear me okay?
No,
Here? Hare Krishna?
somewhat feeble. Yes, yes, you're getting better.
Getting better? Okay, so in the beginning of the Krishna book, the demigods realized that the earth is overburdened by the unnecessary defense forces of demoniac kings. And when they become hopeless, helpless, they go to Lord Brahma, their superior, and then Lord Brahma brings them to the shore of the Milk Ocean, and they offer the Purusha Shukta prayers. And they basically say, Krishna, we don't know what to do, but we'll do whatever you want. So even in the course of devotional service over years and years and decades, it's astonishing to me how often I try to address some problem, some difficulty, some challenge that Krishna sends um, by my own endeavor. Just like in this battle, he's fighting against the demon for a long time. And then he says, Krishna, I can't do this. It surprises me how often it takes me a long time before, well, let's ask Krishna, what do you want, Lord? I'm not sure what to do. I'll do whatever you like. And I've noticed that as soon as I make that prayer, and I try to do it with another devotee, Lord, we don't know what to do, but we'll do whatever you want. As soon as I make that prayer and then let go and don't worry. Krishna says, surrender unto me, Masuchaha, do not fear, do not hesitate, do not worry. Then every single problem that I've ever had in trying to engage in Krishna service has been resolved. And I read a book one time about a girl, and she would, whenever she had some question or difficulty, she would take a piece of paper and put it in a little box. And then at the end of the month or the end of the year, she would look there and she'd see, wow, every single one of these difficulties was solved because I put it before the Lord. There's that old Christian hymn, is there something that are there problems everywhere? Only because I did not carry everything to the Lord with prayer, right? And that's it. It's a simple solution. We know it. We've had it help us before, but the duration of time between when I run into a roadblock and when I say, whoa, turn to Krishna. It's hopefully it's getting a little shorter, but there's still time. You see, here they go 28 days, and then finally it turns to Krishna, and immediately Krishna solves it. How wonderful is Krishna, and how silly we are that if we don't put it before the Lord, and not without any attachment for one answer or aversion to another answer. Say, Lord, I'll do whatever you want. Then we can relax. Because without surrender, it's not possible to be fearless, Bhagavatam says. Okay, it's already talked, so we'll go to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, bro. That Mahaprabhu, you want to add something?
Yeah, I had a question also. I was trying to think of some references from the Gita on how to transcend the false ego. I was wondering if you could, if you could offer some. I know he talks about the weapon of knowledge and slash and ignorance, but I was wondering if there's one that's directly referring to ahankar.
The ego is above the intelligence. So it's very tricky because if we are intelligent, we can control the mind. But just with our own intelligence, it's very impossible to overcome the false ego. In the hierarchy, it's higher. So it's actually through suffering, the living entity has to come to an understanding that, oh, I'm just trying with my own effort again and again. And when they've continued to fail, like how here Bhima is like, is not able to overcome the challenge. So then eventually, if goodness prevails, like as Adi Pushpa was saying, the quicker we come and turn and offer our own selves to Krishna and submit to him, there is no other solution actually for the false ego. But it's not the initial stages of bhakti. Almost we kind of miss it, and we would have to like observe another devotee. Still, sometimes it's not very easy. If I heard Adi Pushpa was saying, okay, make a prayer and turn to Krishna for everything, when I'm like completely absorbed in the false ego, I feel like, oh, it's very impractical. I need to think through and find solutions for practical things. I don't need to turn to Krishna. But as one matures, we realize they both are not exclusive. Turning to Krishna and doing what is practically needed to fix the things, they are not exclusive. They go hand in hand. But with what is the mood with which one does? Like I fix the problem because I think I know how to fix it, or I fix because I am grateful that Krishna gives me the intelligence to fix that, and in a prayerful attitude. So it's a way of living life. Are we living our life in a prayerful way or in an egoistic way? So it's very difficult to spot it only with intelligence. Even if we spot it, it is very difficult to overcome just with our own intelligence. We can spot it with our intelligence, but not possible to overcome it. So one needs to actually fall at the feet of Krishna, and most importantly, association with someone who is advanced on that stage can actually help us see how life is much more bhakti is much more qualitatively better.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's an easier way, like conclusion of yesterday's class. There's an easier way and a harder way, and it all depends on the ability to submissively inquire from the guru, like submissively in your service.
Sure. Thank you. Hi Krishna. Sorry, William Prabhu. Please go on. I think you're muted.
No, we can hear you, William Prabhu.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
There you are.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for a wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Just yesterday was the Bhakti, sorry, I was at the Sri Radha Govinda temple for a Bhakti night. Wow. What beautiful reflections. You just mentioned something that we mentioned yesterday in class. God, I wrote so much stuff. Oh my God. Okay. Krishna knows our deepest part of our heart, our the motivation, the desire, our intention. And sometimes because of false ego, it appears that we're not, I'm sorry, because of ego, my apologies, because of ego, sometimes it appears as if we have false ego. But it's not the case. And you know, we get judged, Prabhu. We get judged. And you know, only Krishna knows our heart. And another thing that was mentioned today I really appreciate was surrender by Jeffrey. Because it's been about a year now that I've told Krishna, listen, I want to surrender. I don't really know how, and I'm talking to him like a person. I'm like, please, you know, everyone says surrender, surrender, surrender. What does it mean? So I'm talking to him, I'm having a conversation. Let me just reach out. Let me reach out to devotees. Let me see what they. So Krishna's devotees. So now I'm involved with classes, the Sri Radha Govinda temple. And it's just amazing, just amazing. And a reflection on those from the beginning, Adam and Eve, the Hebrew scriptures. They show that they had false ego. They weren't surrendered to Krishna or to Yahweh or Jehovah because they ate of the fruit. They ate of the fruit of good and evil. They relied on their own. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I just want to give other people a chance to comment as well. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for getting to class.
Thank you. Thank you, William. Sikshastika Prabhu.
Prabhu, we can't hear you. Prabhuji, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself.
Trina, the peace in each and Tarot, the peace. We should. Okay, there he is.
Yeah, Gaur Sharan Prabhu, you were talking about how we have to, the two paths of surrender and the ability to do things on your own. We often have the tendency to trust ourselves more than Krishna. And because I read a lot of Prabhupada's books, that the idea of surrender has been drilled into my mind so much that I think I can do that exclusively. But the idea of like two tracks on a train, you can do something by being inspired by Krishna. And also that is a kind of a thing that I'm working on myself, because I've always had this dichotomy between doing something myself and just pure surrender, just taking all the words and the mantra coming from Krishna and, you know, being kind of like a Shantaras devotee, you know, just appreciating it from an objective viewpoint. So I thought that that was a very helpful thing for me, because that's always been kind of a dichotomy for me. I guess because I'm an impersonalist or something. I don't know why I have that tendency to confuse those two things, but it's a personal thing. It's a personal relationship between Krishna, and we're both persons. So we have to communicate with each other. It's not a one-way street either way. Do you know how I can strengthen that resolve to be always surrendered 100%, but at the same time like know that it depends on Krishna, but at the same time know that I am the doer. I'm not the doer, but it's up to me to actually accomplish what Krishna wants.
Yeah, you smell the cotton candy flowers. No, I said I smell.
What do you smell, Isaiah?
Okay.
Go ahead, Shikshashtakam Prabhu.
Yeah, so thank you, Shikshashtan Prabhu. If I can reflect from what I've heard, like, say usually first we are not aware that we are in the jaws of the crocodile, or like we are in the uh, trap of our own ego. Second, even if we realize like we are suffering in this world, we imagine like this will change. The crocodile will let us go. It won't be forever. So like how Bhima is seeing here, okay, I may be today I could not overcome Jarasandha, maybe tomorrow. So we may go on, but eventually a stage will come uh, where we want to surrender. But the biggest problem is we falsely assure ourselves that we are very surrendered to Krishna because we practice many rituals. We chant and we have become devotees, and we put on tilak, and we go to temple, we do services, we are very responsible. So a lot of these things actually make us falsely assume that we are very surrendered, but we are in the process of surrender. We are not completely surrendered, because complete surrender is a very uh, high level. It's not that it is impossible to achieve. I'm just saying for most devotees, these externals actually dupe us to think that we are already very surrendered and nice devotees, uh, and makes us feel like I have tried my best. But actually, the false ego is very hidden, very untraceable. That we do, I at least after many years, I feel like, oh, I have just been thinking that, oh, I'm such a nice devotee for so long. That's such a false ego that it's been hiding in that idea of I am like a nice devotee, instead of actually trying to actually become actually really surrendered, and trying to work on the things that I need to improve. So being honest with our own selves, not for anybody else in the world, to have that open kind of a relationship with Krishna, expressing where are the things that we need to really work, and presenting it to Krishna and working on them, is also actually a sign of surrender. However, in an organized setup, otherwise, like we may feel like we are very advanced or very surrendered through external, just because I may think, for example, I may think, oh, I'm just being a brahmachari, so I'm probably very surrendered to my guru. But that does not amount to anything on a practical level, because I carry my false ego around. So for each one of us, it could be very different. So it's our personal relationship with Krishna where we present what we actually need.
If Gaur Sharan has false ego, what do we have? My goodness.
No, here I'm seeing the question is Bhima an expansion of Krishna, and you're asking Bhima.
Bhima Prabhu, are you an expansion of Krishna? Maybe a minute one. In his own right, he is. Okay. Okay, thank you, Gaur Sharan Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. Darshan time.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Shri Radha Murida Gaur Chanchan Bhagavan ki.
What?
Bhima Prabhu, you're unmuted, please.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain.
Hare Krishna. Can I share a Krishna miracle? I was drowning in my mind during darshan. I was drowning in my thoughts. What am I going to do during the day? During darshan. And then Bhima Prabhu yelled, "Watch!" And he reminded me of darshan. So I started watching very closely. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu, for being Krishna miracle in my life. Right. Welcome to the Afterglow. Okay, Jeffrey Eckler. Oh, same here, Yogeshwari says, yeah, see? Cool.
Very well. Now I am currently in a car dealership getting my car serviced, but I just drove from New York to Pennsylvania with every light in my car flashing. So 125 miles later, and I made it. And I think that might qualify as surrender and maybe a Krishna miracle. So.
It was a very surrendered ride.
Yes,
you were chanting, that was good. So if something went wrong, you were chanting.
I was trying my best, but it had nothing to do with me. I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for keeping me company through that harrowing ride of concern.
Yeah, even cars need service. What to speak of us? We all need to be engaged in service.
Absolutely, horrible.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu. Okay, let's see. Do we have any reflections in the audience, please? Jamuna Jaya. Wow, look at that helmet. What's that? Is that protection from your mind?
Yes, I need a much bigger one if that was the case. Today's an unusual Wednesday, so like Jeffrey, I was in transit, not that far, but on my bicycle, so I couldn't weigh in. But just when I put it in the chat, I mean, when Gaur Sharan said that, not even twice Krishna refers to himself as time in the Bhagavad Gita to show, his potency, and when Gaur Sharan said that not even time takes down Maya. That we can't if I wait it out, it'll go away on its own, like a stomach bug. No, it's like what Prabhupada always says: we're not scared enough. That we're not scared enough because she's lurking, and it's her job. Like she's just doing her job well, so we can't just wait it out. So I really love that. Not even time is going to take it down. it means that surrender. And I want to thank Adi so much for what he said, because I find like when Adi always says he prays for Krishna for what to say, I think Krishna gave him words to talk to me today, because there's something that's going on in my life. I just need to understand, Krishna, you need to take it, and I'm struggling. It's not me, it's you. So, but I just really appreciate that thing about time. Time will take everything else. It will, but it won't take that false ego. And so that then it's up to us. So yes, Jeffrey, it is a nutcase. My husband reminds me of this all the time. Nutcase. Very bold.
Thank you, Jamuja. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Nothing's going to happen automatically, mechanically. It's not going to happen. One time, the whole ashram, the whole Bhaktivedanta ashram got food poisoned. Everybody was having headaches, stomach ache, severe stomach ache. And the devotee shared, I didn't want to go to the bathroom and throw up. I didn't want to do it. It's unpleasant. It's nasty. I thought maybe I should just wait it out. And then he said, but in life, sometimes we have to go to the bathroom and do the needful. It may be unpleasant and nasty, but the stomach ache will not go anywhere unless we do the needful. So this was the little morning motivation from us. Yeah. Cool. Narottam Nita, are you still here? You put something in the chat. Would you like to speak?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I was likening. I was having a conversation with one of my devotee friends, Lokram Prabhu, just about how to control the mind and things, and and I was saying, what about like Kshatriya, like Dharma and stuff like that? He said, this is the age of Mahaprabhu, and so like and under the guidance of Krishna, etc. But he said you can use the verses of the Bhagavad Gita like a quiver of arrows, that you can, you utilize during different times of your life to help subdue the mind, and so in reflection of today's class, I just wanted to say that I wish I could do that. I know our Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I think he had memorized Bhagavad Gita at the age of 7, so, or 6 or 7, yeah. So and it's important, and to be, yeah, this is why understanding Prabhupada's books is so important. But anyways, it's there are different verses, but during the day there's so many applicable things, and it'll just help us in a multitude of ways.
Thank you, Narottam Nita. Yeah, we may be small and weak, but Krishna is great, and the Devotees Association is indispensable. Okay, Bhima Kaviraj is here finally. Bhima Prabhu? Are you an expansion of Krishna?
Haribol. Yes, one of the many sparks, as we all are. And in that, we have a connection to the original fire. And then in that, we, as Adi Purush said, that to take our great trials and tribulations, some of us small trials and tribulations, Krishna gives us challenges based upon whether he feels like we're ready to handle it and whether we're going to turn to him to help us handle it. So with Bhima, with Jarasandha, 28 days battling an equal force, and then just a touch of knowledge. I am knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Krishna just made a little hand sign to show Bhima how to take Jarasandha down. So the best part of prayer is patience. He knows our prayer. He already knows what we're going to pray for. It is up to us to wait patiently for him to give us the sign of what to do. That's the toughest part. Krishna's not going to come sweeping in. Maybe if you're a princess, come sweeping in with a chariot and grab you up and ride away with you.
Sometimes he'll just give you a little sign of something that you yourself have to do in a fight. So when we do these prayers, Adi Prabhu sent me this one unbelievable video of these Christians singing about taking this and that. It's called this and this and this and that. How we should take every little thing to Krishna. That's troublesome. And even the blessed things, giving thanks and gratefulness. It's one of the 9 processes of devotional service, offering prayers. And it's not just the prayers from the books. It's not just being able to ramble off Sanskrit. And really, it's not even just being able to remember shlokas, though they are helpful philosophically. When it's matters of the heart, you really need Krishna's hand on your back. So we have to learn to be patient, and we have to take this and this and this and that and that and that, always to Krishna in prayer, and wait patiently, because he'll be around. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu.
Haribo. Bhima, I miss you. I miss you so much.
Turn on your camera, Bhima. He misses you. That'll help.
It's okay. He doesn't want to be seen. That's okay. He's transparent. Haribo, Krishna. I miss you, Prabhuji. So so nice to see you, Bhima. So nice to hear you. When I needed you, you've always been there for me. Remember when I was on the Williamsburg Bridge and I was thinking about suicide? Shh. You answered the call. You were there for me. And that was Krishna working through you, Prabhuji. Okay? I was crying. I was giving up on life. I was walking the bridge thinking about suicide, and you answered the call. Krishna was right through you, Prabhuji. So don't be sad.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribo. Hare Krishna.
Haribo, Prabhu.
Thank you, William Prabhu. Okay, we're going to put our phone number in the chat. Everybody put their phone number in the chat. And William Prabhu, if you ever need anything, please give a call. Give us a call anytime, William Prabhu. We're there for you. Okay. All right. Annabelle, Isaiah. What was Isaiah smelling? Tell me. I'm curious. Okay, Annabelle, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, please, Annabelle. We want Isaiah to say Hare Krishna. The yagya is not complete without that.
Yeah.
Okay, there.
Hare Krishna.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Isaiah, Annabelle. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Bye
Hare
bye.
Krishna.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Haribol.